Well, hello and good day to all of you wonderful viewers out there. Hi, I'm Awesome Joe, and thank you guys so much for taking in the time of your day to watching another episode of Awesome Joe's Play Back-to-Back Movie Reviews. And today we have a really busy day ahead of us because even though I'm working on this official movie review, I even have another one to talk about right after when I'm done with this one. And they're two really great movies. I can't wait to talk about them with you guys. I wish I could do them back to back, but unfortunately I don't really have enough time to develop them and edit them all together into one exclusive video. But for right now, you guys just enjoy, and I hope that you guys are very well entertained by my videos. Before we go ahead and get started, I just want to go ahead and give you guys a quick reminder that this video will contain spoilers. Even though that this movie was just released out into theaters, it's been several days now. I'm pretty sure the majority of the people who have not gone and watched it, or who have gone and watched it, are actually watching this video now and can become part of this awesome conversation. But if not, go ahead and pause this video. I really wouldn't want you to, but pause this video, go to your local theater, and check it out. And then come back, watch the video, and become part of our awesome conversation. So, you guys have been warned. So now, here we go, everybody. We're going to be talking about Don't Breathe 2. Now, it's been some time since we've seen the first Don't Breathe movie, which is a phenomenal movie. I love it. Such great original work, and I had a lot of fun with it, and having to hear that there's going to be a Don't Breathe 2, I wasn't too excited, but I was like, okay, I can go ahead and watch this. It's not a film that I could say that I'm overly anticipated to watch, but my wife, she was really excited to go and watching this. So we went ahead and went to the theater and watched this together. And I gave it a shot, and what's funny is that I do have some complications trying to learn Spanish. But since this movie was only released in the theater that we went to only in Spanish, I said, you know what the heck, let's give it a shot. So I watched it in Spanish, and to be honest with you, I actually understood more of the film than I would if it was the original English version. So it was great getting to watching it. You know, we didn't really have any complications. My wife, she didn't like the idea on how the voices are translated into Spanish. The voices just don't really seem as much as the same as the original voices. So I guess we're going to be watching movies now only in English. But I had fun with it in Spanish, having to knowing that I can understand the majority of the film as to what's happening. You know, just putting two and two together. You know, collecting one word at a time, and you know, just figuring out the whole thing without having to feeling confused at all whatsoever. So I'm on basis of one of these days, sooner or later, learning the language as I go. But back to the movie. This movie is directed by Rodo Sayagüez. Forgive my pronunciation. You guys know it's terrible. But this guy, he produced the first Don't Breathe movie, and this time he is directing. And from the way I look at it, he didn't do that much of a bad job. This is his first directorial debut, which is great, because if you do a good job on a movie for the first time, then you're pretty much going to have a very interesting and impressive resume for future films to come to direct. We get Stephen Lang coming back playing the blind man. This is really cool. I really do love this guy. First time I know he's done several movies in the past, but the first time I've ever seen him is when I saw him in Avatar as the bad guy. And he's just a really great actor. I mean, I love his performance that he does in the movies. And then getting to see him again in Don't Breathe, the first movie, man, he really, really impressed me. I was very astonished by his acting capabilities, man. This guy rocks. I really do wish that instead of Josh Brolin, it should have been Stephen Lang casted to play Cable in Deadpool 2, but Of course, that didn't happen, but I think he would have been a fantastic Cable. Stephen Lang, awesome guy. Great getting to see him coming back. And, you know, as we remember in the first film, he played himself more like the antagonist of the movie, but this time coming around, he's more of the protagonist, and having the saying that antagonist is, you know, pretty much almost like you'd say the bad guy. But this one, he's more like the hero. Even though he's not the hero, he's more like an anti-hero, because he's not going off and trying to seek any trouble. He's not trying to seek any problems. He's just living his day-to-day life. And this time he has a daughter, which is played by Madeline Grace. And I really scratched my head at this, because I'm like thinking, okay, in the first film he was trying to seek gaining himself his own child again, which he did not accomplish at all whatsoever. But this time around, he does have a child this time. So I was wondering if this was his actual blood child. Did he succeed in another situation that took place sometime after the first movie? But then I'm thinking, okay, could it be an origin story maybe? This is how his daughter gets killed? But I was really scratching my head at that. But then later on towards the film, we see how all these bad guys, they start showing up, and they invade the home, and you get a lot of jump scares. You know, you're really sitting at the edge of your seat trying to wonder what's going to happen next. And like this little girl, Madeline Grace, I think that she's really interesting and has a very unique talent in acting, and I find that she could probably be something even more bigger in years to come. So I love getting to seeing child actors and actresses that are introduced into really cool movies. And one of the great aspects of the movie is the fact that that child has really great acting, skills, and we'll see what happens. I'm really looking forward to getting to seeing if there is a future for this actress. But yeah, she did really great. I loved it. And you get another character, Ranger Rodriguez, played by Stephanie Arcila. I think that's how you say it. Like I said, pronunciation is terrible. And like I said, spoilers are going to happen. You guys have been warned. But yeah, this character does get killed off. Pretty much, besides the bad guys that invade the home, this is the only good guy that dies. And I'm just not, I wasn't really fond by that. I'm just like, I hate that they kill off a character so early on into the movie. And I really do wish that we would have had more screen time with some of the characters that do get killed off. Now, not that I'm saying that this guy is a good guy, the blind man. He doesn't even have a name. He's just casted as the blind man. And if nobody remembers, is that this character is, of course, a blind man, but he's also an ex-veteran, and he's just living his life day to day. His dog gets killed by these bad guys. They invade his home. They burn his home down to the ground. They kidnap his so-called daughter. And we find out later on, since there's still a lot more of the movie left to go, and we wonder what's going to happen next. And you can tell that this blind man, he's just so, even though that he shows a lot of bad enthusiasm and showing how much of a bad guy that he is, but really he isn't, because he does have that heart of caring for dogs, because even though that his dog got killed, it really broke his heart. Then the bad guys had their own dog that was seeked on him, and he stops his dog and turns his dog over to liking him instead. So I like that. I like that. It really, you know, I hate the way how this movie ended. I really do wish that it could have been progressed a little bit more, because something about the dog, man. The dog that turned into being more of, you know, the best friend to the blind man instead. And I was just like, so what happened to the dog towards the end of the movie? I don't know. I just, like I said, spoilers here, you guys. So forgive me. You guys were warned. So, but yeah, this daughter is revealed that she is the daughter. This little girl, she is the daughter of the main bad guy in this one of the leader of the invaders of the house. And you would think it would be a rescue mission, because something about a house burning down, and then she was taken by the blind man and raised on his own, like his own. But something to reveal that she has this this gray hair coming down, kind of like Rogue from the X-Men. Hair rolling down, and then you see that the dad has the same thing to reveal that, okay, this guy is actually her dad. I've never seen that before. Sometimes they would do that with birthmarks or some life habits, something like that, to show that there is a relation. But I've never seen that before, where somebody would have the same hairline as the other individual. So it's interesting. It's unique. I'm not saying that this is like the best movie ever. No, nor am I saying it's the worst. But it is kind of more of a really great addition to the story, even though the story doesn't seem like there is any other continuation, because later on we find out that you would think that because the mother of this daughter is still alive and she's in very critical condition, and you would think that it would be this whole big happy family coming together and living happily ever after. Well, that's not the case, because you're thinking, okay, wait a minute, we're still, like like what's going on here still? These guys still did bad. They're the bad guys. They did very bad things. So something's up. So we find out that the mom, like I said, is in very critical condition, and even though that she supposedly loves her daughter, she's sacrificing her daughter by doing a heart transplant and giving her daughter's heart over to her so she can live. I'm like, that's pretty sick. I wasn't really, I can understand that. Not understand it, but, where they were coming from, but it's still pretty wrong. I think this movie is rated R. I didn't check to see, but I have the feeling that this movie was rated R, because there's a lot of bloodshed going on, a lot of killing. I would think so, because I believe that the first one was rated R too. And there was some, there's a lot of hardcore violence and language going on. So, yeah, it has to be rated R. If I'm wrong, it'd probably be a hard PG-13. But I don't know. The movie didn't impress me as much as the first one did. Usually sequels don't really. They always try to be better as the first one by doing the exact same thing, which is hardly ever the case of that ever succeeding. But yeah, you got the blind man who's lost everything and uses the dog to follow the dog with the leash all the way back to where the bad guys are hiding. And instead of having to hunt down these invaders into his own home, since he no longer has a home, he invades their home, which is like a bigger warehouse type of place, type of building. And I actually like it. It was more of an upscale of what the first one did, so I do give credits to that. I did have a good time with this. Would I watch it again? Possibly so. Not only just because to watching it in English to get more of an understanding, but I wasn't bored. That's a huge plus. I wasn't bored. There's sometimes in movies that are so phenomenal, so amazing, that there are even some boring times. But this one, I didn't really feel bored at all. Like I said, not the best movie, not the worst movie. I had a good time. So towards the ending of the movie, he gets every single one of these invaders one by one, and then towards the ending, he gets the main guy, the leader of these intruders, by not even killing him, by actually squeezing his eyeballs inside his head, telling him, this is welcome to my world, and telling him this is how painful it feels to lose a daughter and losing your sight and so on and so forth. But and I'm thinking like, okay, I don't think this guy is actually dead. So, but instead of him living happily ever after, rescuing his daughter at the end, instead he tells the daughter, listen, I'm a monster. I've done terrible things. I don't deserve to have you in my life. I don't deserve to be a father. So on and so forth. So in which cases he's giving up. He gets beat up a lot in this movie compared to the first film. This one he gets beat up a lot. He's outnumbered, but he's still a fighting machine. He's a killing fighting machine. And then he gets killed off by the guy, which I knew he wasn't dead, but the little girl happens to kill him. Her own dad. And so the mom dies, and the dad dies, and even the blind man dies. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that the blind man dies, because then that closes the idea of there ever being a Don't Breathe 3. So I guess we're just gonna end it with 2 movies, unless because the daughter kind of seems like she has a dark side. I mean, probably opening up to another Don't Breathe movie, but she seems to be like a character from the beginning of the film, showing that she's very lonely. She does seek a brighter future, and she even renames herself as Phoenix, which means risen and born again, being not the daughter of the blind man, not the daughter of her actual father, but actually her own self. Which I kind of like the idea of what went on right there. It was kind of almost like what the ending had in store for us in the first film. What gave us to our main character towards the ending. So yeah, the blind man dies. Everybody dies except for the little girl, and of course she gets to run off and live happily ever after, running off to the kids that she was playing with towards the beginning of the movie. But I still scratched my head and wonder what happened to the dog. The dog was just locked up during the middle of a fight and never seen again. And I'm like, okay. It kind of felt a little bit John Wicky. How John Wick with the dog and all that. I'm like feeling it with the blind man with his dog, and I'm like, it's John Wick all over again. But the little girl, she just runs off and joins the I suppose it's an orphanage full of other orphan kids living, walking into the sunset. But I just always wonder what happened to that dog. That's all I got out of the ending of the movie, is what happened to the dog. You didn't kill it in the middle of the movie, and obviously it's alive for some reason. Is it open to a Don't Breathe 3? Possibly so. We don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, if there were to be a Don't Breathe 3, it'll probably be an origin story based off of the blind man, on how he lost everything, how his daughter died. And I don't like origin stories, but I find that the character is very interesting enough to develop an origin story. I would like to see it, but you never know what might happen. We'll see what they could come up with. I really do hope that they do something with this to extend it with another Don't Breathe movie. Which reminds me, I'm not very fond of the title either. Don't Breathe 2 is kind of a cheesy entitlement of a movie. I like how they have a subtext at the bottom of the title. It's like, don't breathe too much, something like that. Yeah, I like unique, I like unique, original ideas as to how to entitle a movie. But Don't Breathe 2, it's like, it's too cheesy. It's not original. I don't like that. I don't like that concept. So, but anyways, you guys, on Rotten Tomatoes, they went ahead and rated this a 52%, which is actually higher than I thought it would. I would have thought it would have been maybe in its late 30s, early 40s, but 52 is really not that bad. It's over half, so that's pretty awesome. For me, like I said, not the best, not the worst. Had a great time with it. I gave it a 67%. 67 is still not that bad. It's far greater than what Rotten Tomatoes gave it, I'll tell you that. And I really thought that I wasn't going to like this movie because, like I said, usually sequels to a successful first film, and it's not really that big of a film, but it's really not that bad. I really had a good time with it. So that would be my review, everybody, for Don't Breathe 2. Have you guys watched it? And if so, what did you guys think? If you have any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns, please feel free to leave it down in the comment section in the bottom. Let's have an awesome time talking about this movie or any movies that you like to talk about in general, because I love to talk about movies, but most importantly, I love to talk about them with you. And don't forget that you can check out some more of my videos on Facebook and on YouTube. Just look me up at Awesome Joe Movie Reviews. Don't forget to click on the like and subscribe button there, you guys. I really do appreciate everybody's support on my channel. It is a huge personal hobby of mine, and I love sharing it amongst all of you wonderful viewers. And right after this, I am going to be developing another video review of Free Guy. So I'm really excited to talk about that one. I just came back from the movie theater watching that one. So I'm really excited to talk about that. But like I said, had a great time with Don't Breathe 2. And I really do hope that you guys enjoyed it as well. Other than that, everybody, I'm Awesome Joe. Keep on living the dream, and as always, stay awesome. Thanks you guys once more again, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Bye.